Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of all those of you who are not familiar with the channel or watching this for the very first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense, because here on this platform, we discuss everyday issues where we try to come up with logical solutions. But not everyone uses logic. For that reason, it is called uncommon sense. Good evening, Kesha. Thank you very much for stopping by. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who have already subscribed to the channel, whether it be from the beginning or just recently. I really appreciate all the love and support all of you have given me. Also, want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, and a huge shout out to all those who allow me to enter into your devices. So, what I'm going to ask you to do is the following. If you have not done so, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification to all. So, therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. I also need to let everybody know that the subscriber mode has been enabled. What does that mean? That means that if you are not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you need to subscribe to the channel. Now, as you can see by the thumbnail, the topic for tonight is mental illness a serious issue? Um, this is something that I've been thinking about for some time. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sharing regarding what are the consequences of men experiencing loneliness. There are many reasons why this situation exists. Some of it is by choice, others is because of circumstances, and others it could be because of illness. So we will look into the matter. Um, Before we get into the topic, we're going to have another episode of In My Words. Okay. Um, Now, there are a couple things that are currently on my mind. Okay. First of all, next week is the beginning of Hispanic Heritage Month, where we acknowledge the achievements of all of us in the Latino community in the area of sports, baseball, and theater, politics, and what have you. So, first of all, I just want to say, and it's early, but happy Hispanic Heritage Month to all my fellow Latinos. Okay? Whether you be from the Caribbean, whether you be from Central America, whether you be from South America, what have you, or whether it be from Spain. Okay. Um, what I will do is, starting next week, just to show flavor, I'll play the audio of a different anthem of a different Spanish speaking country. Now, another thing that we have to bear in mind is we're coming across another anniversary, which is a very sad one, which is 9/11, which we all know that on 9/11, 2001, um, terrorists um, struck the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and also attempted to um, hit the White House. Okay, and unfortunately, we lost about 3,000 people. Yes. Please follow my Union Sisters Council and like and subscribe. So, getting back, it's very rare that we have such a event where there was such a huge loss of life. And the fact of the matter is, um, many people are still dealing with the aftermath of 9/11. First of all, you had um, the families of those who lost loved ones, whether it be spouses, children, siblings, grandparents, co-workers, friends, neighbors. And then you have those who became ill um, with the rescue and then the recovery. And unfortunately, we have lost a great deal of people after 9/11 due to the effects of being exposed to all that chemicals and whatnot. So our hearts go out to these people who suffered so much. Okay, and to be perfectly honest, I'm not even going to try to say anything because there's really not anything that could be said to take away the pain that these dear people deal with. Um, what I could say this much: um, they continue to live as long as you cherish their memories. Okay, and try to follow the best examples that they gave all of you. I think if you're able to do that, um, it's going to help you to deal with the loss. Okay, and again, I cannot even hope to understand what it is to lose a loved one in such a tragic and horrific event like 9/11. But rest assured, all of you are in my thoughts and in my prayers that God may grant you healing, that God will give you solace, that God can somehow heal the emotional and the psychological scars, not to mention all those who are suffering from post traumatic stress disorder as a result of the 9/11 terror catastrophe. Rest assured, all of you are in my thoughts and in my prayers. So, that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to get into the main topic. Okay, so as I stated, the topic for tonight is male loneliness a serious issue? And I'm going to say yes, it is. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay. Now, most of us are social beings. We love to be with other people, whether it be with our children, whether it be with our siblings, whether it be with our parents, whether it be with our friends and co-workers or things of that nature. I understand that there are some people who prefer to be alone, and that's their choice. However, um, there are those males that, for multiple reasons, are currently experiencing loneliness. Okay, and that could be because of many factors. It could be because of disease. It could be because of some sort of family strife. It could be because maybe you are estranged from loved ones. Okay, And of course, with the COVID-19 pandemic, uh, it made it worse because unfortunately we were most of us were not able to congregate with our loved ones in an attempt to try to reduce the spread of COVID-19. And what it does bring about loneliness, it brings about depression, and so unfortunately, sometimes people start to question their purpose for living, and sometimes people tend to think about self deletion. As a person who has experienced depression 3 times and have thought about self believing myself, I can tell you without hesitation that I'm glad that I chose not to delete myself because if I were to do that, I would leave a great scar on my siblings, and particularly in light of the fact that we've already experienced a great deal of loss. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sharing some articles that I came across, which I trust would be beneficial to all you in the audience. Also, want to let everybody know that the link to join the panel has been pinned. Should anyone wishes to join the panel, you're more than welcome to do so. What I ask is let's keep it respectable. And for the 8 people that are currently viewing the stream, even it's from the clouds, it doesn't hurt to give a like and a thumbs up because it does help the algorithm. And by all means, share with your friends regarding this channel and then try to encourage them to subscribe. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my link. Okay. Just give me a moment because sometimes it takes a while for my computer. Okay. Okay. Just give me a moment because it's taking a while. Uh-huh. Just give me a moment. Okay. Now, I came across this article in Psychology Today, okay? And the name of the article is Why So Many Men Feel Lonely Today. And 6 steps to make deeper connections. Let's read it. Men often have fewer friends and social connections to rely on, with 15% saying they have no close friends at all. The struggle with vulnerability makes it more difficult for men to find the connection they crave. By taking gradual steps to build trust with others, men can develop more meaningful and rewarding relationships. Okay. During my years of practice, men of all sorts came through my door for therapy. I was struck how, despite being of different backgrounds, races, and sexual orientation, they were all constantly hungry for connection, especially with other men. With time, I began to see my male clients often have smaller social networks and support systems than my female clients. They have fewer people to turn to when life goes rough. Even amongst the most social of them, it was an undercurrent of loneliness, something that was felt more poignantly if they were single. It seems counterintuitive that the more the digital world has connected us, the lonelier we have become. Statistically, we have grown lonelier over time and report having fewer close friendships than ever before. We are a social species, and these declines in human relationships can have an impact on our health. Beyond the negative mental health impacts, the CDC reports that those who are lonely are high risk for dementia, heart failure, or stroke, or even premature death. Men have often reported having fewer friends and social connections to rely upon, with 15% saying they have no close friends at all. Yet, when surveyed, men often report wanting more fulfilling relationships. What's keeping men from these connections with such a fundamental need? Part of the issue lies with the unspoken rules men are handed in boyhood, especially in the West. Masculinity has become tied to unrealistic individualism. Men are taught they can do everything themselves without help. They are lone wolves, forging their way through sheer grit. In relationships with other men, they keep themselves at a distance. They are typically talking only about sports or hunting or beer. In a pinch, men default to talking about work, the topic that dominates the world, and their impressions of their self-worth. Beneath this facade, there's a deeper felt lack of permission to be authentic and to show the complex inner world in which they live. That permission can become so internalized, yet men shut off their emotions altogether, hiding them from others and even from themselves. Emotional expression can become so foreign that men may actively avoid it in others as well. Just as witnessing the emotions of other men becomes uncomfortable, they may self-distance is a form of self-protection, yet it only perpetuates the isolation and loneliness. Now, one thing we have to bear in mind that today's society, particularly in the West, men are taught to be tough, men are taught to be stern, men are taught not to cry, and sometimes that could be overwhelming, particularly as they advance in age and they get to the golden age where they lose loved ones, they lose friends, they lose colleagues and people, and they lose contact with others. So let us continue. Vulnerability is the common thread throughout all this, and it underpins the invisible wall men often feel between one another. Vulnerability comes from the Latin verb vulnerare, meaning to wound. Vulnerability creates the potential to be wounded, an emotional experience that exposes the part of us that can be hurt. This exposure can be uncomfortable, even excruciating, considering the deeply ingrained belief that many men that they must avoid feeling weak. Yet making themselves vulnerable is the only way man can truly find a sense of connection and, and feel sensed by others. It's not just eternal. Our culture can be hostile towards men who show their emotions, especially those who are perceived to be soft or weak. Even as men are encouraged to get in touch with their emotions, the reception to their feelings of fear, anxiety, or grief can be cold, to say the least. This leaves men in an impossible position. They crave connection, love, and friendship, and in order to achieve that connection and feel truly seen, they must be vulnerable. Yet, vulnerability is an emotional risk, and many men have been punished for taking that risk. That is true. And then, what makes the situation worse, you have some modern women who have these crazy and obscene expectations of men. They want men to be traditional when women do not want to be traditional. Make that make sense. Okay? Again, make that make sense. Okay? So now let's continue. What men can do. They need, the need for connection and belonging is non negotiable. We must find a way through the mire of fear and self doubt. Vulnerability can be uncomfortable, but it's also honest, and showing our authentic selves is the only way we can find a sense of true connection with others. Trust is one the one guiding light for men. Roughly defined, trust is that invisible feeling of kinship that comes when someone shows that they care and can honor and receive our vulnerability. As author Brene Brown often puts it, they have earned the right to hear our story. Okay. Now, here's some things for us to consider. One, identify people who have already earned some trust. Surely there's some people who have already earned some trust from you. This may not be a long list, and that's okay. Deep, trusting relationships are not built with just anyone. Here are a few qualities to look for in those who are worthy of trust, and qualities you will want to develop to earn the trust of others. Honest, but non-judgmental. Patient, knows how to listen sincerely. Consistent and reliable. Number two, seek out moments for connection. Be intentional about spending some time with people you identify. Show that you invested in the relationship by giving them a call or asking them out to coffee. Number three, take incremental risks. When connecting with these people, take the risk of sharing some of yourself, more of yourself than normal. Don't worry about saying it just right. The important part is letting the person see more of who you are beneath the surface. If emotions come up, breathe and let them be seen. Number four, one open one step at a time. Trust is built through gradual self disclosure, and sharing more does not always mean to build faster. Start gradually, a step at a time, one brick on top of the other. Oversharing or trauma dumping is not vulnerability and does not lead to reconnection. When opening up, think about whether you are talking with this person or talking at them. It's meant to be a conversation with give and take. Number five, be patient and return the trust. Make sure that the other person to open up as well. Listen to understand, not to respond. Use body language to show that you're present, facing them, arms uncrossed, good eye contact, and steady breathing. If they open up and share something painful or difficult, breathe through it and sit with them in discomfort. Holding that space for them is a powerful way to build trust and connection. Number six, breathe through the vulnerability hangover. Sometimes after we take those emotional risks, we can walk away with the feeling of, yikes, maybe I shared too much. This is a normal feeling that we share something vulnerable. It's not like it's not like taking a good workout without leaving our vulnerability muscle with a bit of an ache. Take steady breaths and let the feeling pass. Vulnerability is an act of courage, and you'll be stronger for it. And we're going to park this here. Okay. So let me tell. It looks like some of the other people, well, left. I mean, that's their choice. Um, but what is my take? The fact of the matter is, loneliness for men is a difficult topic to discuss because it exposes certain things about us that we may be reluctant to share. And sometimes we feel that we have a justification on the why. Because unfortunately, in society, particularly in Western society, there's an image where men are supposed to be stoic, men are supposed to be tough, men are not supposed to cry, men are not supposed to show feelings, men are supposed to be strong and all the time. Okay? However, we have to bear in mind that there are people that are hurt psychologically. There are people who have gone through a great deal of trauma, okay, for whatever reason. It could be trauma regarding situations that occur to them that are beyond their control, or it could be situations due to the consequences of their actions. Okay, so this is something to consider. Now, what I'm going to do is share another article. And again, as I stated before, the, the link to join the panel has been pinned. Okay. And anyone is more than welcome to share their point of view. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share another article. This will deal with what could be the effects of loneliness if left unchecked. Okay. Just give me a moment. Okay. Sometimes it takes a while for the image to show. Okay. Now here's another article. Seems a bit strong, but something to consider. Their loneliness, the ticking time bomb that's killing men. Okay, so let's It's been described as a silent epidemic. The number of lonely men in the UK and US on the rise, and so are male deletions. Calvin Holbrook asks if two key link and examine the causes and possible solutions of increasing loneliness in male population. I can still remember grinning ear to ear. Excuse me. Let me just. Oh boy. Okay. I can still remember grinning from ear to ear after receiving the keys to my first apartment that was going to be all mine. After years of dodgy flat shares, I finally achieved the holy grail of London living. My own home, albeit rented of course. No more arguments about washing up or cleaning. No more walking up into the kitchen in the morning and finding random munching on my cornflakes. The chance is now to walk around Stalker's bliss. Now, uh, flat, it's a term that they use regarding an apartment. Okay. However, after some months of my initial feelings of happiness started to fade, feeling increasingly isolated from friends that lived far away, I was spending more time indoors alone. What was meant to be an amazing new experience quickly soured. At the time, I was in my late 20s. Now, we all know the stereotypical of young spinsters. Women living alone that go days without talking with anyone except their 27 cats. But I was a youngish male, wasn't the only woman and not man that got lonely. Well, as recent research shows, the answer to the question is a resounding no. Increasingly, it's men of all different age groups that are feeling the pains of loneliness and solitude. This increase to be appears at the same time in sharp rise in male deletions that could be so could the two be linked? According to a recent YouGov poll in the UK, almost 1 in 5, 18%, own up to not having a single close friend. Furthermore, 1 in 3, 32%, stated that they didn't have a best friend. For women, these figures are lower at 12 and 24% respectively, with suggesting that on average men in the UK are leading more solitary lives compared to women. However, the survey also suggests that while men appear to be lonelier than women, men are less likely to own up to the feeling lonely. Because although the poll showed that 44% of the UK men admitted being lonely sometimes, often all the time, the figure of women was actually higher, 50%. The idea that this idea of men don't want to admit any feelings of male loneliness has backed up by a 2017 by the Joe Cox Commission of Loneliness. It surveyed 1,200 men, and 10% say they would not admit of feeling lonely, prefer to keep it hidden. So why there are so many lonely men in the UK and other parts of the developed world? What are the driving forces behind this phenomenon of male loneliness? So we're going to talk about, um, just give me a moment. So the first thing is not discussing feelings. These studies suggest that many men prefer not to open up about their loneliness, so it's not surprising that loneliness among British men has been described as some as the silent epidemic. Indeed, a lot of us men the world would rather talk about anything else other than what's going inside in terms of feelings and emotions. And it's partly because of doing something means opening up to and showing up real vulnerability. And we're talking about 11 things to do when you're feeling lonely. Many men grow up taught not to express our vulnerability as we are shown by society and the media that is something weak. We've been told to keep a stiff upper lip, to keep calm, and carry on. Men should not express their feelings, but actually showing vulnerability to someone else is a key factor in which real close friendships can be forged and loneliness beaten. A 2012 study entitled Men and Deletion, Self-Deletion, Why a Social Issue. From the UK charity Samaritan found that even today men still compare themselves against a gold standard that values control, power, and invincibility. All these things go against men being vulnerable and speaking about your emotions and mental health issues. The reason for male loneliness is closely linked to a second factor. Number two, society stigma and toxic masculinity. As well as being taught to be tough from early childhood, many of us are also conditioned to be assertive and manly. Not only by our fathers and sometimes mothers, but by a society at large and advertising. Indeed, entire marketing and advertising campaigns are created around what it means to be a man and show in our faces. The Samaritan study also found that during childhood, men in the UK are taught that being manly does not emphasize social and emotional skills. Furthermore, they are suggested that clearly linked to men self-deleting. The study also states masculinity, the way men are brought up to behave, and their roles attributes to the behavior the society expects of them, contributes to self-deletion in men. Meanwhile, okay. Good evening, Irby. Thank you very much for stopping by. And the topic for tonight is male loneliness a serious issue? So basically, I'm just sharing some information, um, and I will continue. Meanwhile, in the U.S., similar things are offered. Psychology professor and Professor Naomi Way has researched teenage boys and their closest friendship. Her work shows that boys in early adolescence experience a deeply fulfilling emotional connection to each other. However, by the time they are adults, the sense of connection has disappeared. Why? Ray suggests that this natural distancing is in fact artificial, as a result of toxic judgments leveled against boys and young teenage men by society and environment. Speaking to Mark Green for Upworthy, Way explained boys know by late adolescence that their close male friendships and even emotional activity put them at risk of being labeled girly, immature, or gay. Thus, by focusing on rather than focusing who they are, they become obsessed with who they are not. They're not girls, they're not little boys, nor they in case of heterosexual men are are they gay. And I say, depends on the person. Interesting. The result, these boys mature into men who are autonomous, emotionally stoic, and isolated, says Wayne. Three factors for male loneliness, and even though many of these men are now in relationship with families, it can be argued that they experience a real sense of loss from losing their previous male friendships. Another factor to take into consideration: fewer bonding opportunities. Research suggests that men bond more during shared intense experiences, for example, group sporting activities or serving in the military. Women, on the other hand, by making friendships easier and see more options for forging pals and other parents they meet through children's schools, clubs, and sport teams. According to the YouGov poll, 71% of the women found friends this way, but only 49% did. Now, speaking to the Times, Robin Hinrings, the director of research at the Campaign to End Loneliness, backed up these differences between male and female loneliness figures in the 2019 YouGov survey. Women are more likely to have wider social networks than men across their lifetime and spend more time cultivating their existing friendship and meeting new people. For a lot of men, friendships formed in the workplace are key, which can lead to loneliness and isolation. And I see here earlier you put down economic reasons or mental issues. I mean, there are many factors why people feel lonely. Okay. And now we're going to be talking about retirement and living alone. Indeed, retirement plays an important part to those male work relationships that not continue after retirement. It can lead to isolation and loneliness. Figures from the Joe Cox Commission state that over a quarter of men aged 65 to 69 UK say that retirement has made them feel lonely. As for my own personal living alone shows, it's not always what cracked up to be. In reality, some men living alone, it can be isolating with them having less regular contact with family and friends. The number of middle-aged people living alone in the UK has jumped by about half over the past 2 decades. Figures show for men, the ages of 45 to 64 are the most common, with approximately 1.3 million men residing solo. Marriage. We expect married men to be less lonely and unsupported, but in a 2015 YouGov survey for November actually showed that UK married men have some of the lowest levels of support outside of their home. In fact, they were found to be 30% more likely than their single counterparts to claim they have no one to turn to. Importantly, many men are also more than twice likely than men to cohabit with a partner yet remain unmarried say the same. This suggests that marriage itself, rather than being a long-term relationship, that cuts existing male friendship ties. Sarah Conklin, County Director for Movember UK, said, "The Telegraph, men are expected to spend time with their wives, and that's normal and natural and very healthy, but at the cost of perhaps the friendships that they need to invest in." And now we're going to be talking about male loneliness and self-deletion. Aside from these major factors of male loneliness, some other factors include moving away from friends and family, going through a breakup, unemployment, and the death of a family member. Just like me, you probably experience loneliness to some degree. But while being lonely is something we all go through now and again, if chronic loneliness develops, it can be dangerous or even fatal. A 2015 study showed that lacking social connections is as bad for health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day each day. According to the Joe Cox Commission study, around 35% of men said being lonely has made them feel depressed. And if men battle depression and anxiety as well as on top of loneliness, that's pretty hard to keep calm and carry on. Eventually, something had to break, and that's why we're seeing a rise in mental health issues in men. So these are some um, deletion quotes. In 2018, in the UK, the self-deletion rate rose to its highest level since 2002. Over 6,500 people took self-deleted, or 1.2 per 100,000. A figure that's up 12% from the previous year, and those who registered self-deletion, a staggering 75% were men. Likewise, in the US, self-deletion as a whole is the highest it has been in decades, and as of 2017, male self-deletion rate is over three times that of their female rate. So it's clear men are disproportionately taking this known lives with loneliness playing a part. To fight male loneliness, it's vital that all men, regardless of sexual and relationship status, take their friendship seriously and continually invest in them. Men are traditionally more likely to develop friendship with someone they have met in a bar or pub or through sports clubs. But there are plenty of other ways to meet men and women and combat loneliness. And here's some ways you can do so. Joining a gym and try a new fitness course, signing up to do a marathon, or joining a walking or hiking club. The latter is great if you have to talk while walking, plus you get the benefit of being in nature. Get a dog and strike up a conversation with others while out. Get to know neighbors by joining a local community group. Use social media to reconnect with old friends and try to meet in real world settings. Do volunteer work as well as meeting new people to combat loneliness. There are plenty other benefits to volunteer, such as boosting self-esteem. In Leeds, the Time to Shine program aims to reduce loneliness in the city's older population. It was found by ensuring men that they have something practical to offer is important in their getting involved. This worked well with when men are encouraged to volunteer to a charity shop. Other activities that appeal to older men include those which provide the chance to teach skills to others, such as DIY or gardening, or these have helped lonely men to generate a sense of purpose and help them to build self-esteem. Elsewhere, the UK Men's Sheds Association helps men to reduce loneliness by enabling them to connect and enjoy skills and activities together. And yet, as the name suggests, it's done in a traditional older male habitat. The Garden Shed. Over 400 sheds are open and of operation throughout the UK, with 100 more in development. While many of these men involved are retiring, the project attracts younger people, younger lonely me as well. Just get something to drink because I've been talking for 45 minutes. Another source aimed at younger generations of depression and loneliness in UK is the Lion Barber Collective. Founded in 2015 by barber Tom Chapman, the aim is to turn barber shops into safe spaces of discussion for men. Chapman gives the profession a training course in person and via video to help barbers feel comfortable about discussing mental health with their clients. The intimacy of getting a haircut is used as a starting point for conversations around depression, anxiety, etc. What's more, it's a regular and frequent event. The collector hopes that clients can be a rapport and friendship to their barbers. As Chapman explained to Quartz magazine, being in the chair, having that conversation, one-on-one contact, human contact doesn't happen very often. We barbers listen to the average 2,000 hours a year. If we can help train barbers to recognize the signs, ask the right questions, listen with empathy and without judgment, and help their clients to find resources that are available, we can help save lives, Chetland said. His initiative, which started in Devon, won plaudits and now spread internationally to New York and Australia. Initiatives like these are making great starts to making positive changes in male loneliness and mental health. And seeing some companies and advertisers are starting to take note that they also play a role in influencing men's mental health and loneliness. Comparing the men's grooming thing, shaving album company, Gillette, recently changed their 30-year-old tagline from the best man to get to the best man to fight back against toxic masculinity. The company said that new tagline and advertisement has been part of a broader initiative for Gillette to promote positive, attainable, inclusive, and healthy versions of what it means to be a man. Of course, it would take a lot more than this to reverse the worrying trend of male loneliness and self-deletion. But with a growing awareness and discussion of male mental health and successful initiatives like Men's Shirts Association and Lion Barbers Collective expanding throughout the UK and beyond, hopefully there will soon will be a need society alone and struggling to cope with their isolation. And I'm gonna park it here. So well, it's true. A lot of the information is based on what's happening in the UK. Nevertheless, I mean, it's similar situations. I mean, loneliness is a serious issue. Okay. And again, unfortunately, there have been many situations where men have become lonely. Okay. Whether it be because of disease, whether it be because of estrangement, whether it be the breaking up of marriages, or it could be other factors. As I stated earlier, with the COVID-19 pandemic, um, that forced many people to be alone. Okay, many people were not able to socialize with their family and friends. Many people couldn't go to go to the theater. They couldn't go to restaurants. They couldn't go to sporting events or any activity where large groups of people would meet. Okay, so take that take that into consideration, and also the fact that you have people who lost their livelihoods. Okay, you have people who couldn't pay their rent or their mortgage, and then those who were able to work, um, who work remotely. What that does, it does create a sense of loneliness, and sometimes it can cause other problems where domestic cases of domestic violence has increased. Um, these are many factors uh, why men are lonely. Okay. Also, it doesn't help when society places a lot of unrealistic expectations when it comes to men. Okay, which is basically men are not supposed to cry. Men are not supposed to be vulnerable. Men are supposed to um, lift themselves up for their bootstraps. And heaven forbid if men were to cry. I mean, if men, in today's society, unfortunately, men are ostracized if they show their emotions and they cry. I mean, and unfortunately, what is done is created a false image regarding what a male should be. Okay, let's bear in mind, men are human beings. We all have our frailties, we have our fears, we have our anxieties, just like everybody else. The difference is in Western society, it's perfectly acceptable for women to show their emotions. It's perfectly acceptable for women to cry. Okay, it's perfectly acceptable for women to express their vulnerability. Unfortunately, now before we let my guests in, I just want to state that the views of those who appear on the panel are not necessarily those of the host on the channel. Any attempt to copy the material without the consent of the host is prohibited. By appearing on the call, you waive your rights to the image. Some of the views that people at home might be considered offensive to some viewers. If you do not like the content, you can block the channel. And now I'm going to bring in my guest. Good evening.
Good evening, Don Jose. How you doing?
Okay, I'm just dealing with this extreme god awful heat when the temperature was like near 90 every day.
It's not. That's chill. That's chill. I almost need a windbreaker jacket to wear.
Well, at
And
least, at least the consolation is they do provide air conditioning in the office, so I was comfortable.
okay, okay. We're not gonna get into that, because we're gonna be talking about the weather for the next half hour. So let's not let's not stay on that. All I can say is that, hey, I mean, you could partake in some of the out activities that happen here in Texas in 117-degree weather.
Well,
I thought that it was gonna be a little more chill, because the mornings are are a little cooler lately, but still, when that 2-3 p.m. hit, it's still going over 110. So we're still dealing with that. So, I
well,
mean,
like I said before, when you come to New York in the wintertime and deal
oh,
with the spring-like temperatures in the 20s and in the
uh,
30s,
it will
then
make me
I'll come.
sick. Can't do it. I
Oh,
know, I know.
oh, you know that Orchard Beach is now is called the French Riviera of the Bronx.
The French Riviera of the Bronx. Uh-huh. Really. All right. All right. Whatever you say.
So, what do you think about the topic? Is male loneliness a serious issue?
Oh man. Loneliness. Loneliness. Any man who feels loneliness, who feels like they're lonely, they need to work on themselves. That's right there something that they need to work on. Because I
Okay.
mean, for a man being alone is like time for him to evaluate, reflect, identify what is it that he may need to work on, and work on himself. Work on himself, and eventually things fall into place. I mean, he learns some self value, and he has some time for himself, and he focuses on his work, and he focuses on his professional life. And the recommendation that I could give is that, hey, if you're alone and you're working and you're saving your money, take some time and do some traveling on your own. See places and and take that time to do that for yourself. I mean, visit other places. Don't stay at home. Don't stay home. If you're alone and you're not in a relationship or something like that, then that's the time to make the best of it and go and see places, because he's gonna be by himself. He's not gonna have to worry about another person. I mean, I have found that if I go somewhere, I travel better by myself, because I can focus on enjoying myself and seeing things for myself. But if I am with another person, I have to worry constantly about the other person, and I can really take in the experience of traveling. But that's what I would recommend. If a man is alone, if a man is not in a relationship, then that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, that's a time in which he's gonna have time for himself. I mean, no, he doesn't have to adjust himself to somebody else's schedule, to somebody else's needs and wants, and he can focus on himself. And when he's ready to like be in a situation, being in a relationship again, then the significant person will appear. I mean, it's a matter of positioning oneself in the best situation possible for that to change. If it is important to be in a relationship, that is. I mean, and position, location. Because there are certain places in the in the United States where it's not worth trying to meet a woman, because they're too uncooperative and too problematic, and they come with a lot of baggage. I mean, like for real. Any man who is single right now, and it's not trust me, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Because as we say back home, it's better to be alone than to be in bad company. Now, I may not be the, the best person to ask about this subject. I mean, but as a man, it you have to um, keep yourself busy, mentally busy, physically busy enough that you don't feel loneliness. I mean, opportunity. One is not in a relationship. It's a good opportunity to take up activities or pursue interests without having to worry about another person. I mean, it's not necessarily about a bad thing. Just make the best of it. I have spent myself a significant amount of time by himself, and there is freedom in that. There is freedom. I mean, there is freedom and there is peace in that. Yes, at times, uh, because I am. It's complicated, but I am not alone. Alone. I mean, there is somebody in my life, but she's not with me at this time. And the time that I'm by myself is I'm at peace. I don't need. I don't get lonely. I don't get lonely. But then again, it's just that's just me. Some young guy, some younger person, younger guy who maybe doesn't know his own value yet, and he's not grown. Is not grown as a person to the point where he can realize that he doesn't necessarily need to be in company of somebody all the time. Well, maybe at times they might feel lonely, but that's a good time for also, even with the younger folks, to spend time with friends, with friends and family, people that they trust, people that they're comfortable with. So the solutions are out there, and maybe even if it is a young person, um, get some counseling. It's not that bad. It's not that difficult. It's not the end, the end of the world. And Jose, you were saying something about being emotional, as a man being emotional. The men are not supposed to cry. it's not that we can't. We because we definitely are capable of being emotional and crying and all of that. But the thing is, the thing is, and this is gonna sound bad. This is not gonna sound good. But as men, to never show that to women, because women don't care. Women don't care about that. Women are gonna see us as being weak. They're gonna see us as not like a real man. We're not gonna be seen as real men. Any man that cries in front of a woman, the woman is gonna lose respect for you. So don't do it. If you need to get upset and you need to have an emotional release and all of that, do it alone. Do it alone. You have to do it
Uh,
alone. Don't let don't show that to women, because women are gonna clown you behind your back. So that will be my recommendation.
First of all, if there's any ladies that are in the audience, if they want to join the panel and express their point of view regarding what my fellow Boricua had just stated, the link has been pinned. So you can go there and you can express your opinions freely. Okay?
Yeah, as I see that Kichel was in the chat. I don't know if she's still listening, but hey, Kichel, I mean, you can come out. You can hit the link,
You
and
know,
I see uh-huh.
I kind of wish Gigi or Multi was here so they can express their point of view. But
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah.
but
They will
having
have an
said,
idea how that will end, but that's all right. That's all right. If they were listening, they can hit the link too.
yeah, but you know, this is the way I see it. When it comes to certain women, okay, you can cry in front of them and they won't look at you in any sort of no disrespect.
Okay, there may be some that a man can do that, but as a standard operating procedure, men don't cry in front of women. Period. Period. That's what I'm forced to recommend to fellow men. Never ever do that in front of a woman. I mean, if you men you have friends that are men like you that you actually trust, and you want to be a little upset in front of them, they're more likely to be more understanding, because we're talking about men, and it takes a lot for us to get upset like that. So that will be different. But don't cry in front of women, because women will not understand it. Women would see you as being generally um the they will see you as being weak, not enough of a man, and that's just not a good look. It's a bad look in their eyes. So don't do it. Don't do it. I understand what you're saying, Jose. There may be some women that it will be okay to do that in front of me, but I strongly advise against. I advise against that. Strongly advise against.
And also, this is situations when it's easier said than done, particularly when you're dealing with the death of a loved one. You know, like um, like a sibling
Yeah.
or a parent. I mean, particularly mothers, because us men, we have a unique. Well, oh, okay. Maybe put it this way: for many of us, we have a unique bond with our mothers. Like this is not always the case, but for many of us, it is. So therefore, when you know, you're
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Okay.
just that I'm fixing something over here.
Okay.
Yeah. I see what Irby is saying. He's saying they probably will say that the support men crying. I think he's referring to Gigi and Multi. Yeah, they might say it. They might say it, and they will be lying too. They will be lying.
Well, in all fairness, they're not here to give a rebuttal, so we can only speculate.
Yeah.
Okay. So but I mean, but it's easy in some, it's easier said than done in some situations, particularly when you're dealing with the death of a loved one, or if you're dealing with the ending of a very romantic relationship or marriage. Uh, it can be very emotional. Okay. Now I see here another client from. Okay. Um. Yeah. Well, you know what? I think everyone deals with emotions and grief differently. Would you agree?
Yeah, yeah, and the thing is that when my mom passed, there were a couple of people that did see me get very upset, of course, but I didn't even show anybody else. It was only like a couple of people. That's it at work, but that was it. That was it because this these are the people that I have to see every day. So I can't be getting all emotional like that. So I had to restrain myself the best way I could. I couldn't do it all the way, but I had to kind of like keep it to myself as much as I could.
Yeah. And what made it harder was that with my mother's passing, me and my oldest sister, we became more like the surrogate parents for our younger siblings. So it's
Hmm.
like we have to like set the example for them and make sure that we remain under control under a very painful and stressful environment.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know. But I the reason why I choose to discuss this topic because the fact of the matter, men feel lonely, and sometimes they don't know what to do. And then when you factor in that in Western society, men
Hmm.
are men are tough, men are not
Yeah.
supposed to cry, men are not supposed to be emotional, and heaven forbid if you express that you have a vulnerability, you will be ridiculed.
Yeah. 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 The that is to be expected. That's why, like Irby was saying, some women will use it against you, especially when you're when you're arguing with them. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are women that are very keen on throwing things in a man's face, uh, his faults, his flaws. Um, in the heat of an argument, when she's emotional, she might she might throw that in your face. I mean, kind of like hitting below the belt type of thing.
That's true. That is very that is very true. And
Hmm.
when it comes to people in like that they want to throw stuff in your face, um, what's better? The best thing to do is not to engage with them until they calm down, because
Hmm.
it's just gonna be a losing effort, whether it be the woman being emotional or the men being emotional. I mean, you
Hmm.
cannot engage with such people like that and expect people to be calm and rational.
Yeah.
So, have you been following the story regarding the woman that got hit in the face with a brick?
Ugh, I've heard, I have heard so much about it that I don't even want to make any commentary on that. I don't even. I'm not even touching that one. I might do a live stream, but about something else. Uh, so many people are still talking about that. But what I'm seeing is that there is the other side of the coin on this one. On this situation, there is like new information being put out there concerning this girl. I mean, and how this isn't the first time that she will do things for attention. Um, so of course, I wouldn't want to. I definitely wouldn't want anybody to be hurt, to be beaten, or to be hit with a brick. And the first thing is that we don't even know if there was a brick. We don't even know if there was a man that actually hit her with a brick. I mean, it's just that's what she said, and people ran with it. I mean, not understanding that people make up stuff. Now there have been apparently witnesses that have confirmed something about that, but they're saying that they're telling the whole story. They're telling the whole story that this woman has a pattern of behavior in which she gets into confrontations intentionally. So, hey, not happy that that happened to her, but at the same time, eventually you can only push it, you can only instigate things so far before something actually happens to you. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
Not saying it's right. Mm-hmm.
well, believe it or not, I'm going to be discussing this topic next week.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. How about it?
And look, and this is my mindset. First of all, no one, and I repeat, no one deserves to be struck with a weapon because a brick is a weapon. Okay. However, when women decide that they want to be equal to men, they're gonna have to accept not only the benefits but the consequences of being equal.
No,
Meaning,
the one that benefits and privileges, the perceived privileges, but they don't want the responsibilities. They want the men to have the responsibilities, but they want the privileges. They want the perks, the privileges
well,
that come with it.
well,
Hmm.
Multi discussed it on her stream last night,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, and look, you gotta understand. They're gonna look at things one way. We men are gonna look at things in a different way. Um, One thing I find it very suspect. We don't know if it's true that she had said a whole bunch of negative anti-men male rhetoric and what have you, and she actually had the videos of her striking other men, but then having all her content deleted.
Hmm.
Again, no one deserves to be struck with a brick.
Hmm.
But I mean, unfortunately, if you engage in inappropriate behavior, there's going to be consequences. Now, the argument is men should protect women, and it's like, so you mean I'm supposed to protect some women I don't know, particularly now that I can barely walk?
Hmm.
I don't think so.
No, because the argument is that that's something that is owed to them no matter the circumstances, no matter how uncooperative they are being, no matter how disrespectful they are, no matter how much contempt these women have towards men. They still believe that they are owed protection from the same men that they say that they ain't shit. Because the- the- that's something that apparently they need to get with the rest of the world, because women around the world don't do that. Women are in other parts of the world, in other countries, they know better. They understand that they can't do that. Only here in North America, you find women that have a swelling, an enormous sense of entitlement. I mean that because it's like matriarchy or this chronic misandry, toxic misandry, because that's apparently a thing where we have to sacrifice for the same women that hate us. The thing is that in reality, we don't owe these women that we don't know. If we don't know you, we don't owe you, ladies, for real. Get that through your minds. Get that through your heads. Nobody
I
owes
mean,
you
look,
anything.
I mean,
Mhm.
look. What we can do is we can use our phone to call 911. Okay,
Mhm.
we can videotape it from a safe distance, and then then have show the videotape as evidence. But
Mhm.
actually get into a fight and you don't know whether the person is armed with a weapon, another weapon, what have you. Now here's an interesting point. If she was rejecting him but I would ignore her, it's not serious. She shouldn't hit him, get hit with a brick. Okay, first of all, look, we don't know what happened um, prior to her getting struck with a brick. So I don't want to say anything that may not
No,
be
no,
accurate.
there have been eyewitnesses that have already come out and have told what happened before she was beaten, and it seems that there is already a history. There is a pattern of behavior from this woman that she gets into the face, she gets into men's faces and starts to instigate shit, and even even slapping them because she feels like okay, she's a woman, she can go around slapping men and nothing is gonna happen to her, and that's not sustainable. That's not sustainable. Like women, you will eventually get into the face and start slapping the wrong dude. And that the wrong dude is not gonna care.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have a very painful wake up call. You need to stop that shit.
Well, look, I mean, when everything is said and done, I mean, she should not have been struck. But my question is, did she have the opportunity to leave the scene? Why she didn't leave it?
Of course, she wasn't gonna leave the scene because she was getting attention. I mean, instead of identifying or documenting anything and calling 911, and eventually she did go to the hospital, but she didn't do that right away. Instead, what she was doing was TikToking, recording herself
Oh,
for TikTok, for views, for attention.
okay.
Well, this is stupid.
Speaking about
Uh-huh.
views, I'm going to show you the video clip about how beautiful Orchard Beach is, the French Riviera of the Bronx.
That's not. It's not even Orchard Beach. It's not, you're trying to show me how beautiful. Maybe from the Caribbean. I already know better.
Oh, come on now. We all know that.
Uh-huh,
I
uh-huh.
mean,
What?
Orchard Beach is a beautiful beach.
Okay, they call them
Now,
Chocha Beach for a reason.
I mean,
I mean,
okay. So let me just show you the video clip.
As the Riviera of the Bronx. This 1.1-mile crescent beach attracts over 1 million visitors to its waters each summer. It's a place to relax or have fun in the sun. Orchard Beach is one of NYC's top staycation destinations. Orchard Beach is known as the Riviera of the Bronx. This
uh-huh.
1.1
That's for people that can't go nowhere. For people that have to do staycations because they can't go anywhere else. Yeah, that's gonna be great. That's gonna be a great beach for people that can't go nowhere. She said it. She said it herself. For staycations, for staycationers.
I mean, did you see how beautiful the water was?
No, I'm not. I'm not trying to get in there. Yeah.
I mean, just think about it. The water is so blue and clear and crystal. I mean,
Uh-huh. Sure, sure.
so the next time that you come to New York in the summertime, You can take your lady, your lady, to go to Orchard Beach.
Mm, no. No. I don't think she will like it. And her being from where she's from, I don't think she's gonna be too impressed.
And then you can take it to Coney Island. You can take it to Brighton Beach. You can take it to Reese Beach and see how beautiful the beaches of New York are.
Yeah, okay. All right then.
So your comments regarding the video clip.
Nothing. I mean, okay. Maybe you see a little bit of water. Not all of the water looks muddy. So I guess that's good enough for people that can't go anywhere and go to a real beach. So that's good for them. That's not good enough for me.
But that is a real beach. It's almost.
Nah.
It's just like the beaches of Puerto Rico.
Uh, uh, Jose, we're gonna have beef if you you said something like that again. Don't ever say that. We're gonna have a problem because that's a damn near that's a damn near blasphemy. That's almost a blasphemy. Blasphemy. You comparing Chocha Beach with the beautiful beaches of Puerto Rico? Nah, you
No,
can't do that.
it is the French Riviera of the Bronx.
Okay. Again, that's for people in the Bronx that can go nowhere. Okay, let them have it. Let them have it.
Well, I just had to show you that little video clip.
Yeah. I think I saw it. I think I saw a little something a couple of days back, but I'm like, nah. No. There is no comparison. There is no comparison to the Caribbean.
I know, but think about it. With a subway ride, you can go to Orchard Beach. You can bury yourself in the sand.
Not on that sand. Not on that one. I'm not trying to touch that sand.
And of course, we all know that New York does not have a serious rat problem. They might have a slight mousy problem.
Uh-huh. Sure you sure it doesn't. Sure you don't.
And New York doesn't get too cold in the wintertime.
Well, whatever you say. Whatever you say. I'm not even gonna go into that.
Like I said, if you come to New York in the wintertime, I'll come to Texas in the summertime. It's only fair.
All right. We'll see what we can do about that. Yeah.
In fact, you might join the Polar Bear Club.
The what?
The Polar Bear Club.
No. Not doing it. Nope.
Do you know what they do every year on New Year's Day? They go to Coney Island and swim in the ocean.
And you join them, right? You're there. You're right there with them, right?
Okay, I admit the water gets a little chilly in the wintertime.
No, it gets hella cold. That's what it gets. It gets hella cold. And I'm not risking my life. I'm not risking my life. I'm not risking hypothermia. Not
Well,
doing it.
right, well, right now it's 74 degrees and I have the air conditioning on.
Why do you have the air conditioner on? That's chilly already. My air conditioner cuts off at 75 because that's already chill.
No, well, it's 72, so
Uh,
it's
mm.
so it's so it's warm.
Well, that's already getting a little chilly for me.
Well, you know what? I'm happy at my job because they have the air conditioning working nice. Of course, you always have a bunch of wimpy people complaining. Oh, it's too cold. It's too cold. It's like an iceberg.
Something is going on with your microphone because it has these loud scratching noises. I've been
Yeah,
hearing that for a while.
yeah, you know what it is? I'm using a headset
Oh,
because so that way I can hear it and keep the AC on.
okay. All right.
Could you imagine if I had complete climate control worldwide?
No, I don't want to know.
I mean, think about it. I can turn Texas into a winter wonderland.
Ugh, no, no thanks. No thanks.
I mean, I'll be very generous. Winter will only be 4 months long.
That's already too long. That's too long. I mean, for me, 1 week that we have snow, that's too long already.
Oh, come on.
We got like for 2 3 days out of the year. That's too long for me. That's
But you
already
know
too
what?
much snow.
I mean, you should come to Albany in the wintertime. The temperature gets down to zero.
Hell no. Nope,
So,
not doing it.
oh, come on now. You can deal with the cold.
No, I don't want to. No, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I have to protect my health. I don't want to. I don't want to get into some hypothermia shit.
And of course, you learn how to eat pizza with pineapples.
Hell no. I'm not trying to eat pizza in no New York. A rat might steal it.
Or you might become creative and eat pasteles with ranch dressing.
Okay, enough of that. Enough of that. No,
But
no. That's disgusting.
why? I mean, it creates a new type of flavor.
No. No. You do not use ranch dressing on a pastel. Of course, not ketchup either.
Oh, it's always peanut butter.
You know what I'm saying? No. No, 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 no. You can do that. I won't. I'm not Americanized like that. I'm putting ranch and peanut butter on my pastel. What the hell?
Uh, well, well, the fact of the matter is, you know, getting back on the subject, I think there's certain ways that we can deal with loneliness. One of them is it's acknowledge that we have a problem, number one, and try to take some sort of actions, you know, to deal with it. Like try to create bonds with men. Um, Try to find a hobby or time to volunteer yourself. So therefore, you're not lonely and you share the interaction with others.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's a time when, as a person, one will have to work on himself and try new things, try new hobbies, try new experience, go to places, visit places, travel, meet new people. I mean, nobody, one person doing those things is not gonna stay alone for long, and it's not gonna feel lonely for long because they're meeting new people. Sometimes that is needed. Sometimes it is needed to go out and meet new people, making new acquaintances and new friends. Yeah.
That's true.
So, but some effort has to be put on. So that it's not really an excuse. A man who's feeling lonely is because he's not leaving the house. He's being too lazy. So, like any dude out there who might be listening that is feeling lonely, go out there and meet people. Go out there, do something. Go out there and travel. Visit it. Think of a place. Think of a place that is of interest to you that you've never been to before, and make plans and go there and
Yes,
visit.
yes, like Alaska in the wintertime.
No,
Um,
I'm not talking about the North Pole. Because no, I'm not saying to go to the North Pole. Go to a tropical place. I mean,
or,
that's
or
where logically you have the better time. I mean, getting away from the cold ass weather, not going to it.
or go to Australia, because over there it's wintertime over there.
Okay. All right.
Or you can come to New York and go to Orchard Beach, the French Riviera of the Bronx.
No. Nope. No thanks. Man.
Well, okay, you know what? Let's stop. Let's stop to wrap this up. I don't know if you have, if you're able to stay for the backstage so we can talk a little bit. Because if you're not, I understand. But I do appreciate you coming on the panel and sharing your point of view.
Okay. No, definitely, Jose. I appreciate you letting me be on your panel. But yeah, I'm gonna be taking my leave after I say this. But again, I appreciate you letting me be on your panel. And basically, that's all I have to say when it comes to that, because this is a male issue, and male issues are usually. The solutions are usually more straightforward, and like I was saying, as a man, you feel a little bit lonely, take action. Go out there, experience things, meet new people. Do it. You won't feel alone so much longer, because the solution is fairly straightforward when it comes to men. Now, when it comes to women, it's another thing altogether, because the complicated emotions that women have, you can never really figure out. You can never really have a handle on what it is that will cause a woman not to- I don't think women really feel lonely like that, because they are more social. They need to be around other people more. They need to talk to other people more. That's why they have this relationship with the phone. um Even before there was social media, they're usually the ones that are on the phone more, talking to somebody, because they need to have that interaction on a more consistent basis. Both men aren't really like that. Um, but yeah, I mean, the solution is fairly straightforward when it comes to men. So there is no excuse. A man the it feels that he's lonely, but he stays feeling lonely is because he's not taking action. So there is no excuse. So with that say, thank you, thank you, Jose, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks for having me.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And before if you, I'm gonna ask you if you have not done so, please subscribe to the Introvert Boricua. I know sometimes he doesn't always air content, but he does. When he does air it, it's usually very interesting. So show some love to the Introvert Boricua. And
Thank you, Jose. Thank you, Jose. And I plan on doing something very soon. Very soon. I know that because of my schedule, I have other things to do, that I don't do content as often as I probably should. But I'm gonna be doing something soon. But yes, please, anybody listening, like and subscribe to Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron, and also hop over to Introvert Boricua 787. That's my channel, and hit the subscribe button also. And with that said, then I'll take my leave. Don Jose, thank you for having me.
well,
Appreciate it.
thank you very much, and be safe. And whatever you do, try not to lose your cool.
All right, I will try. Have a
All
good
right,
one.
all right. Take care. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you my final thoughts. It is an issue regarding the fact that men are lonely. It's an issue that can be addressed. Okay, but the key is you have to be willing to be honest with yourself that the issue is there, and you take constructive action to try to get out of the loneliness. Do certain things like join a club, get into hobbies, um, become creative. There are many things you can do to try to help deal with loneliness. Okay. But in any case, I do appreciate everyone that appeared on the chat, and appreciate the presence of the introvert Boricua. Now, just to let you know that on Tuesday, I'm going to be doing a live regarding funny memes. basically funny images from my Instagram account. And the whole point is, just to have a humorous um, call and show. So hopefully, um, some of the members of the Uncommon Folk will make their presence felt. I will be discussing the issue regarding the lady that got hit with the brick. Of course, I'm going to have a different, unique, a different spin based on the fact that I'm male and males do see things in a different way. The fact of the matter is, um, someone could easily have dialed 911 from the same distance and videotape and offer the video as evidence. So, with that being said, um, I'm going to ask that you please subscribe to my channel and check out my content. Of course, all of you are welcome to add enter your comments after the stream. What I will ask is, people, please be respectable, okay? And we'll keep it going. Well, in any case, I'm gonna close. I'm gonna close the same way that I have been closing lately. We must do everything possible to minimize our contact with the mentally and intellectually challenged. Because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by their stupidity and mass insanity. And I thank all of you for giving me the privilege and the blessing to share my content with you, whether it be live or whether it be on the playback. This has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Hossein Negron. And I just want to wish you a very wonderful weekend. Do what you can to enjoy yourself. Okay? And yes, thank you for coming up, Irby. And this is a reminder. Um, Gigi is having a stream tonight. I think it's 11:30 p.m. and she's going to be interviewing Caesar Cannon, which my understanding he was the one or one of the key people that created what's known as the Golden Spear. So this should be an interesting interview. So take care, have a blessed weekend, and peace.